Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda, aka Tony. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be starting potatoes off. Very late in the season, but not too late. You can leave it another month if you want. But let's get them on. We're going to be doing the first earlies in the form of Pentland Javelin, Sharps Express, Ulster Prince, Charlotte, which is more of a salad potato, but they're going in with them anyway. And one more, which I can't remember. Pentland Javelin, Ulster Prince, Charlotte, Sharps Express, and Saxon. Saxon are going in as well. And we're going to have a bit of a spud shootout. I'm going to be doing them in the buckets once again this year. But there are two different styles. There's the square sort of 30 litre Tesco buckets, and there's the 20 litre Asda ones. And the Asda ones are round, like that, and measure about 11 inches deep. And the Tesco ones are these square, bigger buckets. When I say square, they're more of a rectangular shape at the top. And we're going to be doing two in each different style, two of each in the different styles of buckets. So two of the javelins will be going into the square, two of the javelins will be going into the Asda rounds, and then we'll see at the end a good comparison. They're going to have exactly the same feed, which is just going to be blood, fish and bone, 2 handfuls of that mixed in with the compost, and a shallow handful of chicken manure as well, all mixed in with the mix into each bucket. I'll talk you through it, but I hope you enjoy this one, and I can't wait to see the results in about 10 to 12 weeks time. Okay guys, stay tuned, and don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, because we really do like those comments, and the subscriptions always help, the thumbs ups, all of that. It all helps the channel. Okay guys, see you in a bit. Bye bye. So these buckets we get from the Asda's and Tesco locals, the smaller outlets. I suppose it'd be Walmart over in the US, but they give them us for free. We don't have any problems getting hold of these, the older buckets, and they're the cut flower buckets. So when the flowers come and they're on display, they're displayed inside these buckets, and obviously you need to then put some drainage holes in so they don't get oversaturated. So all you do is get an 8mm, I use a metal drill bit, but you can use a wood one as well, I suppose it'll go through. I wouldn't use a brick one. And just drill some drainage holes in the bottom, 6 to 8 drainage holes in each. And because they've got handles on the Tesco ones, I'll just put a bit of duct tape over, just so that I can fill them up to the brim. It's the same with the Asda ones, cut flower buckets. Like I said, we don't tend to have any trouble, but I believe people who have tried it in the past have struggled to get them. But if you just explain to them that could you have some, because you're going to be growing potatoes in them, you and your grandkids or your kids or something like that, they tend to give them you, because they only sort of last about, I don't know, 2 or 3 different, 2 or 3 times, and then they swap them out anyway. They just tip them off, as far as I know. You can only recycle them once, I believe, so we're going to repurpose them for growing spuds in. And they're generally okay. The local ones near us, we never have any trouble. We just ask and receive, if you like. So fingers crossed, you'll be able to get your hands on some for free. Alright, so those are selected runners and riders for this week's competition. The Great Spud Shootout 2024. And as you can see there, they're all of a similar size and a similar chittage. Now those are the chits that are coming on them. There's about 3 on each. I've checked that there are 3 actually on each one coming through, and they're of a similar size, sort of a duck egg size. 2 of each are going to be going in to these style of buckets, and 2 of each are going to be going in to the Asda style of buckets. So let's crack on. So we've got some blood, fish and bone there, blood, fish and bone meal, 6x concentrated farmyard manure, 5 buckets and 75 litres of compost. which we're going to be chucking into there. We're probably going to need a bit more compost, to be honest with you, but I'm going to take it up to that line. That's a bit of a shorter bucket. That's about a 9-inch one, so I'm going to do them all the same. Unfortunately, that's an anomaly for some reason, but we're going to get them all at the same height, just by eye, with the compost mix, compost and feed mix, and equal amounts are going to be going into there. So it's going to be up to that line of that. It's going to be a level of that going in. Trust me, I'm a doctor. And all the compost mix there, which is the Irish stuff, we can still get hold of it. And these buckets are going to be filled up. So I'm going to sort of half fill them and then press the potato seed into the middle so that it stands about 3 to 4 inches from the base, because the potatoes, the new potatoes, grow in and around that. Actually, I'm probably going to have to put it, so that the base of the potato is about 4 inches off the bottom and in the centre of each of these buckets. So let's crack on with that. So they're all about half filled now with the compost, and I get a double handful, hand there, lift out and put it in, and they've had 4 double handfuls each, and it's got them to that sort of just under halfway stage, but it's about halfway on the smaller one, the shallower one. Into that now, I'm going to put half a scoop of each of those, mix that in, and then top them all off, put another half scoop in, mix it all together. So in the end, they've had a scoop each of the bloodfish and bone and the family hard manure or chicken poo into the buckets. And then into that, I'm going to go a hand's depth into that with the potato, pushing it down so it bums about that far off the deck. And then that's Bob's your uncle, just top them off. Forgot to mention, I just put the bloodfish and bone in at this stage and work that through. And what I do is afterwards, once I've got the potatoes in to a hand's depth, a hand's length depth, which is about 7 inches or so, it'll be sat down at the bottom there. Once I get the potatoes in, which is the next step, then I'll just top dress with the sprinkling of the nitrogen rich stuff, because you don't want too much nitrogen in with the potatoes. You'll get a lot of top growth, but you won't get that tuber development. The bloodfish and bone's a good one for the tuber development. Gives them a good well-rounded feed. So the potatoes are going to go into the holes now. As I say, it goes down to the depth of my hand, up to the wrist. That's all I do in these buckets, and they sit then about a couple of inches away from the bottom. And the potatoes will grow all around and up from that. Yeah. Okay. Javelin. The Pentland Javelin. Ulster Prince. Saxon. Sharps Express. And the Charlotte. All in the little beds. One thing you've got to be when you're filling up your buckets is, when you're topping off the soil, just be careful that you don't break those chits. So just gently place your compost on the top for the first couple of handfuls, and then you can just throw it in afterwards. But you don't want to be breaking those, because that's where the horns come from. I call them horns, but I think it's holms or something like that. And that's the stems that come up and eventually provide the foliage for the plant. And the roots come out from there as well. The tubers grow off from all around here really, and spread the wings out, hopefully producing about 1 kilo of potatoes, organic new potatoes, from each one of these buckets. Homegrown on the Little Farmer's Farm. Javelin, Prince, Saxon, Express, Charlotte in the Asdas. A thief has stolen my male tap connector. It was on there last time I looked, which was on Friday, and now it's gone. It was definitely on there. I thought that had been moved. It was moved and sort of like, you usually keep it in the big bucket at the front, but it was moved out of the bucket. That's a disappointment, boys and girls. Yeah, tea leaves. I thought somebody had been on, and they have. Anyway, luckily we can resort to old-fashioned means, because we've got these, and we've got those. Let's just hope we've got the spout connection, the rows for them, watering rows. I'm sure we have. Exhibit A and B. Yeah, we've got the technology, guys. All told, we've got 2,000 litres of natural rainwater that we store on the site. You can never have too much, especially when tea leaves knit your tap connector. But in the height of summer, that probably lasts you about a week and a half. So yeah, it's always worth investing in means of water catchment. The tiki hut over there, the entire roof is used for water catchment, and it goes into those 100 litre butts, water butts, and each one of them has got a tap on it, and there's 5 of them. So you have 500 litres there. So yeah, that'll last you a couple of days. But as I say, we've got about 2,000 litres all told in the entirety of the butts that we've got. There's one that comes off from the greenhouse and fills that up. There's another one on that side, but that one's got which needs checking out actually. That's going to be a stinky job. That's got all the old comfrey from last year in it. There's that at the side of Tiki Tunnel number 2. I designed that so I could have 2 on, so I'm going to put one on that side as well. I've got the guttering at the back there, I just need to put it on. But that comes off the roof into that and fills that. Whenever we get a downpour, that's full to the brim, and I use that for watering up inside the tunnel. Well, like I say, I'm going to have to put one here as well. We've got a couple more barrels there. There's a barrel over there. And each one of these holds about 300, I think. I think it's 300 litres of water you get into in the big blue ones. So yeah, that's essential. You do need water. Water, sun and good earth will produce good plants. Plus some fantastic places to grow them in, obviously. Like this. So this is where I put them for the time being. The beauty of growing in these buckets is you can move them about. Just grab them by the handles and move them away. When you want to get into there and weed and tend to your brassicas, I can just move those buckets out of the way, move them across to this side, get in down there. I can already get down this side for me weeding and me tending. Yeah, down that path. That's why I did these big wide paths. A couple of you were saying, oh, you could have made them narrower and got bigger beds in, or even made a smaller tent. But the idea is we can grow them in here, put the buckets in, and maximise your space, your croppage if you like. So let's water these up and we'll wrap up. So I'm going to leave the watering cans inside here, and then when it does rain, stood up like that, the rainwater will get inside and hopefully fill them up. If you get a good downpour for a couple of days like we've been experiencing about a week ago, and for about 3 months before that, you collect a lot of water. But when the sun comes out, it dries them out, and you've got to be prepared for that. I like to water deeply, so when we get like with these buckets, I count them off. I go like this, me. Get the nozzle, put it in and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. And what that gives them is about 1.5 litres, I've found, and soak down. In the middle of summer, I give it 2 lots. I give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then move on. But it's all dependent on the conditions of your soil. When you put your finger into it, if it comes out with stuff on it, then it doesn't need water. If you put it in and it's not got that that growing medium stuck to it, then they tend to need water. So I'll give them a bit of a drink. It's not fine art, but it is. You've got to be a bit thoughtful, really, about overwatering, overfeeding, like we did in here. That's overfed. It's had far too much manure in it, whereas the others haven't. But I'm still getting a little bit of this, which could be that there's a bit too much nutrition, or it's just struggling in some way. But all the rest seem to be fine in here. They look all right. They look good. Anyway, according to the British Broadcasting Corporation, we're not going to get any rain this week until, I think, Friday. So it'll be about sort of like 5 days without rain. So probably we'll have to come up and water up. It's just easier using the tap, you know, using the hose pipe. But it's not as conservative, is it? In a conservative way, conservational way. I don't mean Tory, I mean conservation of water. So we gather as much as we can. And I think last year I only used the hose pipe twice last year, and we just fed everything else, watered everything else naturally, as God intended. God's tears did the job and watered everything up. I'll say when I used it twice, I don't think I used it at all inside the greenhouses. I think I just used what we had, our collections of water. In those big blue drums, we've probably got about, I'd say, 1,500 litres in the big drums, and another 500 litres there. So when it does rain, we can conserve it. Yeah, last year it worked. It worked quite well last year. Anyway, boys and girls, peace, love, and namaste. You're looking a bit mucky there, you. Knock you off then. Anyway, is that better? A bit clearer. I need a haircut. Take care of yourselves and each other. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. I'm just off to nurse my bad back now. Supposed to go in pictures tonight with Daz and Picky, but I don't think that's happening because I can barely move. Overdone it. I've overdone it this last sort of week or so. But take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, we love you all. If you're a lady, you've been beautiful, fantastic and fragrant. If you're a gentleman, you've been forthright, virile and masculine. And if you've been something in between, you've been something in between. I've been Guru Mafinda. This has been The Little Farmer's Farm, and we love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a cracking week. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.